Some kind of bug, or? Well, you know, if you got to get better so you can go to work.
That always happens. You didn't go anywhere?
All right, we'll call to order Newman City Council regular meeting, May 28, 2002. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we all bow our heads, please? Dear Lord, we thank you for bringing us all here tonight. We ask that you watch over everyone in this community. We ask that you give us the strength and the guidance to make the right decisions for this community. In this we pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Bob. Go have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Applegate, Parker,
Present.
Martinez,
Present.
Andalusia,
Present.
Mayor Reed.
Present. Any communications from staff? Ernie? No? Okay. Items from the public, non-agenda items. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the meetings, it would be appreciated if you limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Matters under the jurisdiction of the Council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public at this time. However, California law prohibits the Council from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the City Council. Any non-agenda items? Okay. Items from the public, agenda items. Any member of the audience desiring to address the council on a matter on the agenda, please raise your hand or step to the podium at the time the item is announced by the mayor. In order that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the council will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless the mayor grants a longer period of time. And when you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Public hearings. Resolution number 2002, next number, resolution declaring existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4. Ernie?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. This is a code enforcement issue. As stated in the city manager's report, letters were sent out to several properties informing them that they had a public nuisance issue. The property owners that failed to comply are on that list that I handed out to you prior to the beginning of the meeting. They've been informed that they have an opportunity to protest tonight's proposed action for abatement of their properties. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
I do have a question. A couple of these are posted on the 15th, which is less than 2 weeks. 1905 N Street and the storage yard over at the Newman Flange, Bigelow Chevrolet and Newman Flange. I would like to extend that time frame and send out the additional notification to give them at least a 2-week period.
I think that the 2 weeks would basically be up by the time we get around to that. This is the 28th, so the 30th would be, or 29th would be 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So these were mailed out on the 15th, right? Is
Right.
that correct?
That's right.
So they wouldn't get them that actual date, or would they?
They would get them the next day.
Go ahead.
The point is, Councilmember Parker, at least one of these, I know Bigelow Chevrolet, we've been in contact with. He knows what he's going to do. He's going to do it. He's got a plan to do it. We work with the people even after this goes out. And if they show signs that they're willing to work with us, they need some time to do it, we will work with them. I mean, these aren't drop-dead dates today that it happens. We look at it, we talk to people, some of them come and talk to us, we let them know what we're doing and give them a chance to do it. So
Yeah.
this isn't, you know, tomorrow we'll be cleaning it up and abating this and charging them on the tax roll or whatever.
Well,
we will
I
work with
appreciate
them.
that.
So,
I appreciate that because I think in terms of, I mean, we had an abatement nuisance on our last meeting, on our last agenda item with a number of homes.
Right.
And I think it's pertinent, or it's important that we work with business owners,
Sure.
with property owners about their property. And I know that you guys, the Public Works, do your job to notify people and let them know. But when we send out an official notice from the city, I kind of like to guard that a little bit, to the extent that I think it's only appropriate that we make sure some allowances, because at our last meeting, the mayor mentioned that one that we had on here was already working to abate the problem themselves of
Sure.
the weeds. So
Yes.
just to avoid any kind of contentiousness, the city versus.
He
Yeah.
wasn't back there doing anything since then, except
Yeah.
tonight when I left, he was back there with his.
Well,
weeds
there you
again,
have
so
it.
There you
It's a
have
little
it.
slow but sure.
Now, we'll contact them all and work with them, and if they need additional time, that's no problem.
Yeah, I like for it to be more of a courtesy
Sure.
than just a
Right.
hard line.
But we
fast.
have to get the weeds out because
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
a fire
It's a
hazard.
fire hazard.
Yeah.
I agree.
The real purpose of this is sometimes it takes this to get their attention, Councilmember Parker, and so we do go through this process, and then hopefully we work with them and they get it done, so.
Thank you.
Ernie, that's it? Okay, all right. We're going to, this is a public hearing, so I'm going to open a public hearing. Anyone have any comments on this particular item? Not, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask for some directions on this.
I move we adopt resolution number 2002, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Item, I'm not going by the item numbers because they're kind of messed up here. Consent calendar. A, approval of warrants. B, approval of minutes of the May 14, 2002 special meeting and the May 14, 2002 regular meeting. We have some direction on the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to pull consent calendar item number B for a correction only. Otherwise, so moved to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. What would you like to have corrected on item B?
On the discussion in regards to 10C, my attending the Stancog meeting for the half-cents tax issue consideration, that proposal was actually passed by the 5-5 vote. If you refer to your notes, it says that it was defeated. The Stancog policy guidelines that in the event that there's a tie, the actual motion passes rather than is defeated. So it actually passed, that the staff will look into trying to put the half-cent tax proposal on the ballot.
For
So just-
2002?
But wasn't the motion was not to put it on, wasn't it?
The motion was not to put it on.
And that passed so that it should not go on. Is that correct?
Yes. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. The motion for it was for it not to be put on the ballot.
And the motion passed.
The motion passed by a 5-5 tie.
And
So-
therefore, it should not, they will
will-
not be putting it on.
That's
Is
correct.
that
Will not be put
correct?
on the ballot.
Right, but your wording that you said that it was
Okay.
defeated, that it actually passed.
Okay,
But they're still looking at this for 2004. I think.
Yes,
okay, we'll make that correction.
that's it.
All right, let's get into regular business. Item A, consider funding option for Young at Heart Senior Exercise Program. Anyone want to comment on that? Kathy? Sure.
The Healthy Aging Association contacted the City of Newman's Recreation Department with Barbara Tosta's help. This program is geared to an exercise program for adults 50 years and older. And basically by the end of this month, they're going to be losing their funding. So what they would like us to do is have it developed into this city recreation program and have the city sponsor this program. I looked at several different things. The monthly fee for this is going to be $230 a month. Now we could subsidize it by charging a $5 fee per month. The classes go for 3 classes a week for an hour. And I contacted some of them in the paperwork that was given to you. Some of the other programs, they do charge like $20 a month and that to help with the cost of it. So $5 is fairly reasonable to keep the program going if it could not be funded completely. I think Barbara has a couple of things she'd like to say as well with the program. This, in my opinion, would be a great way to keep this program continuing, and also would work into when we start our senior programs. It would be a great start. From my understanding, there is a lot of participants. They really would like to keep this program going. Not only is it a great exercise program for them, but it also gives them a chance to get out and socialize with other seniors in the community. So, Barbara, would you like to come up? She has a little more information than I do. She's
Okay.
involved in this. a
Thank
lot
you,
more.
Kathy.
Actually, I thought you were ready to approach us before Kathy was.
No, it's just a good program. I'm
Could I get you to state your name? and-
Barbara Tosta
Okay,
from
thank you very
Newman.
much.
I'm a former exercise lady. Before I became ill in 2000, I had cancer. And I continued with the exercise program during, in fact, they had a write-up about me in Modesto Bay. And then when I found out about this program that was allocated for Newman, nobody was giving the classes. So I decided, well, I'll contact them. And after chemo was done, I decided I'd take the classes. And then I became an instructor and came here and started December 10th, the Parish Hall in Newman. And we're not, we don't have to pay any rent or any expense other than my wages, and that's the only thing that's involved. And our ages really are not only 50. I have them all the way from 33 to 87. My youngest is 33.
Oh, I could fit in there somewhere.
Yeah. We could do something for you.
Come on, Jim,
But
you got a
it's-
way to go yet.
It's a very good program. It's good for people that, you know, to get self-sufficient, moving around, and it's just a good way for seniors to. And then there's also the meals program right there, so when they get done with exercising, they can stick around for an hour or so, visiting, and then they go on with the meals, go on to the meals.
Bar-
Where did you, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cliff.
We were just asking about, they were asking, could you tell a little bit more about the program, when you meet, where you meet, times?
We meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 to 11,
Okay,
at the Parish Hall here in Newman on Main Street.
thank you.
Where did you previously receive your funding? I understand that that's no longer,
From the, there was a grant from the United Way,
okay.
and they're no longer able to fund the program out here, so they're looking at other options to kind of keep these programs going in the different towns.
How dare them cut us off like that?
No, that's okay.
Barbara, do the participants currently pay a fee per month? Or
No.
They don't?
No. It was set up that way when I was instructed with it, and they were, you know, just to come, and it was free. It was through the county. Oh, the bands. I have the bands here. Did you want to see what I do?
Sure.
Certainly.
Do a demonstration for us,
There's
Barbara.
applause. Show us what you got.
In fact, some of our strong gentlemen broke the band. They're so strong on it. Okay, this is the lighter band. This is for the, some of the ladies have difficult and a little bit crippled and have a more difficult time. After everybody.
That's okay, let's go.
Anyway, so this is the lighter band, like I said, for those that have more difficulty. Then there's a medium band, which the majority of the class uses. And then there's a heavier band, very, very difficult. Like I said, two of my strong men. But anyway, so we just put the tubes underneath our feet and arch of the shoes. And then we just bring our arms up and back and in front and on the side. And then we do leg exercises, shoulder things. And, we do 8 different exercises. We have a warm-up, and then we do the exercises, and then a cool down. It takes about an hour.
After each
Oh yeah, after each exercise, definitely a stretch.
My wife is always telling me I need to stretch more. I just lift the weights.
Stretch is as important as the
Yes.
exercise, because without the stretch, that's where the problem comes in.
Before and after the exercise.
Yes. They probably get mad at me, but I make them hold it for a long time, because I exercise in another class and we don't hold it as long. So I just, you know, they're doing really well.
exercise everything from our eyes to our toes.
Oh, and yes, we do our eye exercise too, because, a lot of it,
Voice, fingers, makes it safer driving.
Okay.
They've had a lot of things that come up to me and tell me the improvement they've had. It's really been shocking to me. That's the surprise of it all. I believe your mother's in the program.
Hey, have you gotten David out there? The mayor?
No, I'm not there.
He walks every day.
It sounds good, though.
It does.
I might get into that. Hey, I don't know, do you have,
Yes, there's a sitting position. They can start out and then they advance and then you're standing up for the hour.
do you have Tai Chi classes? No? I want to get in one of those.
Oh, it's the beginning. It's the
Yeah.
beginning of things. And then
Uh,
Tai Chi and yoga.
Yeah, hopefully we get our senior center started this year, and we can get that built, while we'll have some more room in there.
Father doesn't charge us anything for the hall.
Can you tell them a little bit?
Yeah, I realize that, but we get our senior center finished, and we're trying to get all of the senior programs in that one area then. We've checked out a couple other places, Ripon and Lathrop, and see how they work their programs, and it's very successful. Any other questions for Barbara? Barbara, do you have anything else you wanted to say first before I ask
No.
council questions? Okay.
You might mention that some people have physical ailments that require exercise, and their physicians have requested exercise.
I have, different. I have Parkinson's disease. I have, one was on an oxygen tank, but she has since developed shingles, I believe, and is unable to attend.
She'll be back.
She'll be back. Oh, that's good. And then I have stents, and just a lot of, because sometimes I get a little concerned about, does it say doctor, nurse across here? Because, you really have to be careful. I have to really watch them and tell them to pace themselves, and I want constant eye contact because to see if they're okay and if anything arises. And I definitely have their phone numbers, cell phone numbers, if they're not, people aren't at home, to cell phone numbers, or, in case something happens to be,
And you say that you currently have 25, 30 people
Mhm.
on the average?
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's all by word of mouth. There hasn't been any advertisement for these classes out there.
I was,
It's basically just by individuals, right?
excuse me, yes, I was supposed to go to the doctors and advertised about this, but then it started snowballing on me, and so many, and, and so many coming in with different things, and I said, oh my God, I've got to be very concerned with what I've got here and handle these properly, rather than go on with a really large class, and then, so eventually, I think if everybody gets pretty much on a really healthy level, then I can go on and get more, and, speak up more to get more people. But right now, it gets hectic when the new ones come in with different disabilities, because it's a responsibility to me, I find it.
I think we should add, she's very professional. She takes each person, checks us out. She has one of us, Carol, who is counting for us in case she's helping someone get into her right exercise. She's a very dedicated instructor. She's very caring.
Okay.
There's a lot more.
Any questions?
No.
No? I think it's a great idea.
No, I
think,
The only comment I'd like to make is that programs like this are so essential to our community, and thank God that you good people are out there doing this and helping people that need the exercise, because
Well, I know what it's done for me. Anytime I was healthy, and then I became really unhealthy, but because of my health, I know that's how I survived chemo. I drove myself back and forth, and I kept exercising during the time I was going through this, and I know that's what got me through it. Otherwise, I don't know what, you have to be tough when things happen.
Well, it gets our
Okay.
seniors out of the house, too.
what do all you people think of a $5 a month fee? Okay. And what I'd like to do is, we have a very successful program that benefits United Way, particularly our duck race. I believe that all of those funds stay on the west side, right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so I think that if we had a little friendly talk with the United Way people, we could probably get this funded again fully next year and eliminate the $5 a month.
It may be possible that we go directly and apply for a grant ourselves through United
do
Way to
that.
run this program.
That's
We
what
don't
I was
need to
told.
wait. And
There's been-
All right.
We can do
Try
that
that.
directly rather than going through the other way.
that sounds good.
Interested in seeing what the program looks like. The
Mhm.
exact same program, the same things we do is on television on Channel 19. I think it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure, but
6
I think
o'clock.
it's on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yeah. So you can.
We're retired people. We don't get up at 6 o'clock.
Oh, everyone up
I'm
here is
working
not
by then.
retired.
I'm working.
I'm at work by 6.
Just have to get the people out of bed and out.
I could probably tape that anyway. So,
Well, you know,
go ahead, Tim.
Social camaraderie as well.
well, Mr. Mayor, with what you just suggested, particularly with the duck race and looking for United Way to possibly pick up the tab on this once again, I'm wondering, and staff maybe can address this, we consider this currently to sponsor through the rest of this year, what type of impact that would really have on our budget for sports, where we can absorb and not even charge a nominal $5, where we just go ahead and consider the total cost.
It would only be $230, but that's only for the 1 month because our fiscal year is up at the end of June.
So we would pay it through this year, and then we would consider it in our fiscal budget for the next year.
Fully for the 1 year is $2,760.
Well, I think we ought to consider it, simply because of, I mean, the nominal fee of $5, I don't think will affect our budget greatly one way or the other. I think because of the money we put into youth programs, particularly with Parks and Recs, with baseball, with the skateboard park, that was about a $45,000 investment for this town. To spend $2,700 roughly to enhance a program such as this for our seniors, I think that it would behoove us to absorb that. I'm looking for some support from my colleagues.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I agree, and I will make a motion that we fully fund this for the rest of the calendar year.
Seconded.
We ought to go a little farther than that,
Consider it
John,
in
because
our
it's
budget.
only 1 month.
No, for the calendar year up to the end of the year.
Oh,
I mean, for the calendar year, not the budget year.
Cleve, is that, which would
Right.
be
Calendar year, not fiscal year. Up to the
the end of December?
December.
What I might suggest, you've heard a lot of this, is that you go ahead and fund it for the 1 month, but then consider it in your budget, look at it on a total basis, as you know. And you're right, you
But
know,
we don't want it to.
$2,700. But we will have our budget adopted
Okay.
before
Right.
the end of the month
Okay.
of June, so we can have that action date. The thing that, and I agree, this is a great program. It's a terrific program. But as you know, every little bit of money is becoming very tight this year because of what's happening up at the state, and we still don't know for sure where our revenues are going to be from the state. And I agree with everybody out here that this is a terrific program, needs to keep going, but I think it needs to be considered. We can keep the program going through June, definitely, and then we can make a decision in our budget whether or not we fund it fully or whether we consider the $5 charge, and we can look at it in the budget negotiations when we go through that.
And I would say further, because we make that final decision on our budget negotiations, the gentleman that you see seated here before you, that'll be a high consideration to be in our budget.
I will amend my motion then to fund it through the fiscal year.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. All right, thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Barbara. Item number B. Adopt resolution number 2002, next number, a resolution adopting the City of Newman City Beautiful Award and Recognition Program. Cleve, you want to take that?
Yeah, I told Mr. Borchard that he didn't need to drive down from Mariposa tonight. I thought I could handle this. As you know, one of the goals that the council set was to set up a beautification recognition award program for the city. So Mr. Borchard, our planning director, put together this program, took it to the Architectural Review Committee for review and get their recommendations on it, and then they're sending it forward to the city council for adoption. And what this program would do is set it up where, as seen fit by the Architectural Review Committee, they can make nominations and recommend those to the City Council to receive an award on a periodic basis. There's no definite time frame on how often that would be, but they would make recommendations for those awards, which would come to the City Council, and the City Council would then at approval of that, would do a proclamation and present award to individuals or businesses for, things that they might do to their homes or businesses to beautify them. So that's the basic design of the program. I think it's spelled out pretty well in the resolution how it would be run, and it's fairly simple the way we wanted it to be. And I think anyone, if the council saw something, they could make a recommendation that the Architectural Review Committee look at it and then make the recommendation back to the City Council. So.
What about citizens? I mean, this is specifying the Architectural Review Committee, and you just interjected us as councilmen.
Citizens could also, if they saw something that they they could mention it just to staff even, and we would,
Refer to
present
the
it to the Architectural Review Committee. These can come from any source that happens to come up. We can look
Okay.
at it. But I think what it does is it puts the program in place so that we can consider it from time to time.
And these are residents, business owners, and civic organizations.
Yes, originally they kind of looked at it just as businesses, but the Architectural Review Committee, as they looked at it, said, no, it should be anything, residential or architectural, or businesses, either one. So it's open to pretty much anything. So.
Okay, any questions on this? I think we discussed it pretty well at our workshop, but so we have some direction on it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt resolution number 2002 next to number, a resolution adopting the City of Newman City Beautiful Award and Recognition Program.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Item number C, authorize city manager to execute agreement with Woodside Homes to defer wall improvements. Lee?
As you know, on the Lucas Ranch 3 project, and I apologize, I should have put the map up on here to refer to, but on our general plan, as you know, below the Lucas Ranch 2 project, located over off of Canal School Road and Inyo, there is a strip of industrial land on the south end of Lucas Ranch 2, directly on Inyo Avenue, front on Inyo Avenue. There is some consideration by the developer, the owner of the land, to come to the city and request that that be rezoned to residential. Their reasoning thinking is that Inyo Avenue makes a better divider between the industrial and the residential than having a big wall or whatever sound barrier between industrial and residential. Staff has not got into that discussion. That's a whole different process that has to go through the Planning Commission and review and et cetera to get to that point. So we don't know where that's at. We have not recommended one way or the other whether or not I think there's good points both ways, and staff has just basically remained neutral on it. We are very concerned, however, about removing industrial land from our general plan and changing it to residential. We need that industrial land to create jobs. However, what Woodside Homes, the owners of the Lucas Ranch 2 project, have come to us and said, if that land is rezoned to residential, it does not make sense to have the sound barrier that is proposed. And the barrier that is proposed is a berm, landscaped berm, with a 6-foot sound wall on top of it, making a total of 10 to 12 feet would be the total height of this wall. So to have that between two residential developments really does not make sense. And so what they have requested and presented for us is that we allow them until that zoning action is considered, or 2 years from now, whichever comes first, that we allow them to put up the normal wood residential fence to the back of those properties. If the rezoning is brought before the Planning Commission or the council and is denied and it stays industrial, at that point they would be required to put in the berm and the wall as is presently required. Or if 2 years from now it comes and they have not presented a request to rezone the property, at that point they would be required to put in the berm and the wall as is required in the current conditions of approval. So what they are requesting is that they be allowed, it's basically a deferral of those improvements. They will put up a bond in favor of the city, which will give us what we need to collect the money to pay for that wall if they do not put it up in one of these two time frames. So basically what we're doing, it's not anything that is requiring the wall to go in at this point because there is no industrial below the property. And at such time as it is determined that it is going to stay industrial, we will require them to put the wall up. And or if we hit that 2-year period, we will require them to put the wall up. So they're requesting that we approve this agreement that is before you, which will allow them to move forward. They'll put the wooden fence up at this point, and then later on, depending on what action, they would move forward.
Any comments on that?
I do have some comments, but I'll defer.
Did you want to make a little comment on
Yes,
this?
Bob Naveau, Newman Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to, I understand the proposal that's being offered, and I don't believe the Chamber would have a problem with it as a temporary situation. However, I'm sure the Chamber's position would be that, and historically, I have a real experience with that because I was on the council when we zoned all that industrial, and the reason for that is that we want to maintain at that time, and I would like, I'm sure that the Chamber would endorse maintaining it as an industrial corridor. There was a reason that we did that, and certainly it would be advantageous for them to build more homes, but as the city manager stated, jobs and business are really the driving force here. And I think it's critical, and I believe the Chamber would agree that we need to protect that industrial land. And backing it up to homes probably isn't the best ideal, but I think if you were to weigh the loss of potential jobs, that far exceeds any advantage that we'd gain from just barely building homes. So I would recommend at this time, and I'm sure the Chamber would agree, that you can go ahead and grant them this extension. However, I would ask you to really weigh heavily toward the industrial retention of that area. It's critical in what's going to happen further to the east and how the Inyo Avenue will continue to go east beyond Canal School Road in our general plan. And so you want to be careful and not allow these things to creep in, and that's what happens in all of our general plan. When we make a long-range plan, the monster that you have to watch out for are those little bites that come. And then all of a sudden you look back and you go, oops, and it's too late. So, and I know that the council is well aware of those things, so I just wanted to bring that up and remind you that it's a very critical industrial area. Thank you.
Bob, I knew there was a reason why I was deferring my comments. And when you said bites, I started thinking of Pac-Man, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the way it happens, and we've already seen some of that happen to the north along Stir Road where
Yes.
that's been changed. And you know, certainly there's always a good argument. One of the great things that happens in this process is that everybody that stands up here thinks their argument's the only one. And sadly, it's not sad that you get to make the decision, it's sadly for them, that's not always the case. Because there's a whole lot more at stake, as we all know, than just my opinion or your opinion. It's everybody's. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. He said, but you were going to, right?
Well, yeah,
Basically,
basically,
okay.
I mean, you know, I'm fortunate because I've been a part of this process, particularly with the tentative maps and some of the rezonings that have occurred and some of the amendments that have taken place on our general plan, having privy to have served 4 years as a planning commissioner. And I've also spoke extensively with the previous owner, Doug Lucas. Fred G. Lucas's father and his mother just happened to live on the other side of where I live. The preservation of industrial area, I think, is a priority simply because of the contentions we've currently been facing with industrial area that we already have zoned that we haven't been able to get parceled out yet. As much as I am a part of the process for housing and residential, I think we have plenty of that on our maps, and the expectations of this town is already known to that the population is going to exceed somewhere around 10,500. My question is, with this extension, the bonding that you spoke of, I need a little more meat and potatoes on that, because what I'm looking at here in the staff report and the agreement is not giving me what I think I would want. The bonding issue for if we were to defer it, give me a little bit more on that. I mean, what kind of assurance is that we'll have the money from the developer to build the wall?
Well, I'll defer to the city attorney, but he reviewed this, but the bond would be listed in our name is how I understand it works. So at any time, if this agreement is made, you know, if they default on this, we have the right to call that bond, which brings in the money to build the wall. Is that?
Yeah, standard performance bond.
And
as
is
we've
that,
always-
is that cost consideration for inflation as well? It'll cost us more in 2 years to build that wall than it would right now?
Well, it's the company that's
That-
building, it's not us.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
You're talking about the 58.8,
Mm-hmm.
the amount.
Yeah, the amount, they have an amount in here, so.
Is it possible to put an inflation factor on a bond, Tom, do you know, or? I've never heard of that.
No, the premium would, you don't know how to, how long.
We
to calculate
could,
the premium.
Well, just say the cost of putting that in at that time.
Actual
whatever it
cost.
may be, actual cost.
Well, we still have to have an
To
estimate for the
figures,
purposes of the
Yeah,
bond.
the bond has to be a dollar figure.
And that's what we
Yeah.
have. We figure, I think, for a couple years, that's pretty in the ballpark.
Well, let me cut to the chase and read straight through this. I mean, it's the hopes of Woodside Homes to be able to build additional homes there.
Sure.
That is the reason for this proposal before us. And it is my stance that I think we need to adhere and hold on to our industrial area and stick with some of the formation of the general plan that people put a lot of hard work and effort in to kind of shape this city where we're the benefactors that today we're now making the decisions on. And because we have so much housing on the books and we see where it's taking place, I kind of would like to still reserve that strip of land, which is, what is the total acreage there from Inyo out where the housing development is now? Is it 3 or 4 acres?
It's
Oh, no, it's more than that.
more than that.
Yeah,
What's the
I'm
total?
guessing the industrial strip there is probably 15 to 20 would be my guess, acres.
Well, there you have it. You've helped solidify my my thoughts. on
Yeah,
that.
I think that this whole, the whole thing is just kind of a waste because I don't see any way of approving that to,
Yeah. I don't see it, what I've explained to them is that I don't see it happening on a spot basis because I've talked to some other people that I've recommended that they don't move forward with a rezoning on a spot basis. The only way that I see that it would happen is if through the general plan process, which we were going through, through that total review process, it came back and said, yeah, we're going to rezone this to residential, but we're going to add industrial land over in this area.
Where?
So that I don't know. I'm
Right.
not saying where. That's what has to happen during that general plan process. All I'm saying is, and that's what I have told the developers, is that I'm not in favor of a rezone on a spot basis like this. I'm in favor of looking at the whole city and saying, well, maybe this, we understand what previous city council members and planning commissioners were doing at this time, but we feel based on what the city has done now that perhaps this industrial land would be better located here and turned to residential. And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that that's the scenario where I see that perhaps this could change is on a total review basis of the whole general plan, not on an individual basis where we're looking at just one little parcel and saying, well, we're only losing 15 acres of land of industrial. That's not that important. But the problem is, as Mr. Naveau has mentioned and Councilmember Parker mentioned, you take 15 acres here and 15 acres here, and eventually you're losing hundreds of acres of industrial land.
I've
And
always
that's-
seen that process taking place in our current general plan. That's
Right.
why I'm
Sure.
speaking adamantly about it. I've been a
Right.
part of that process where we've made amendments to our general plan and we've changed even residential, even in that particular area where Woodside is currently, we've changed some R1, R2 and made it a RD so that they can build single family dwellings there. We made an adjustment on the zoning ordinances there for the lots so that they can build single family dwellings because there was supposed to be some medium density housing in that area as well. So, given that, I don't see why we need to give them a deferral myself.
Yeah. Well, my only point is, and I'm not in favor of this, believe me, I agree with everything you're saying, Councilmember Parker, and I explained this to them, as you see in my staff report. I said, I'm not in favor of changing industrial land. And I explained to them that this is a gamble on your part. You're going to have the expense of putting up the residential wooden fence, and when, probably, the way I'm leaning right now, and I think the council is saying, you're going to come back and have to put the wall in later. So you're going to have both expenses so it's your loss. But they say that they're willing to take that risk. Now, the point is, if they're willing to take the risk, I guess, is it anything that the council's out? But, you know, that's your decision.
Our current agreement stands that they're to put up the wall.
Correct. Yeah, that's a condition of approval.
There you have it. And that condition of approval was passed by this council. That was in the whole tentative.
Well, I'm trying to remember if that was on the tentative map. I think, well, I think the
Through the
planning,
planning
I think the
process.
planning commission approved those, the conditions.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, they were approved by either the planning commission or the council, so, yeah.
All right.
Bob, John, any comments on this?
I agree. I think that we should leave a zone there between F and A, and, you know, I think there's already too many, the houses are too close already to F and A. I'd hate to see them, you know,
Well,
get any
and
closer.
we
We
have
need
all
to
of
keep
our-
that area
that's-
there.
That's a continuation of our industrial land out
Exactly.
there. It's not like putting houses there and then someplace, say on the other side of Canal School Road, okay, we'll give you 15 acres over
Right.
here, and then you have more industrial in.
I mean,
along
my
all the
opinion,
residential
those
areas, so-
houses are already too close
Yeah.
to F and A.
So, well, the whole thing though boils down to the fact
Focus on our industrial, let's change some land to residential and change it. So we just don't know, and that's the thing that bothers me a little bit, is that it's that issue of doing this spot zoning, short of doing the general plan update. If we had that general plan update that told us right now, then we wouldn't be going through this discussion, we would know where we're at, but we have to go through that process to find out. And the only thing is, I guess a little bit, because that issue is out there, is this, if by chance, and I understand you're saying there's no way it's going to happen, but if there is that small chance that that were changed to residential, then all of a sudden you've got this huge wall between two residential areas that also perhaps becomes, you know, do you really want that there? And essentially that wall would be part of a landscape maintenance district, which in that case I believe the city probably would have to have an easement down between two residential areas to maintain a wall that, you know, maybe was not necessary.
You know, I have to say this, because you said it a couple of times. For a person that doesn't agree with this, you sure are arguing adamantly for us to
No.
make a decision. There is a question. Mr. Mayor, I would,
Yes, sir.
I would implore you, it's been seconded, I mean, it's been motioned and seconded. I'd ask that you
I
call
think
for
we're
the
in the
question.
discussion right now.
Yes, that's absolutely correct,
that's
Bob.
why I opened up for discussion.
And it still is, but, I mean, we could talk about it
Well,
for another, you know,
I think
hour.
I think it's important that we do talk about it, Tim. I don't think it's necessary to
Okay.
rush into anything like this.
Okay.
So I think as long as we know all the facts and we determine those facts are accurate, and that's what we want to do, fine.
Yeah, and I apologize, Councilmember Parker. I'm not trying to sound I'm in favor. I'm trying to give you all the facts so that you have all that information to make your decision. So, I don't care either
I have
way
nothing
it
more.
goes.
Any other discussions? Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Maybe
All
a
in
roll
favor?
call. Want a roll call vote? I'll request a roll call vote.
Okay.
Councilmember Parker?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Mancia?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
Yes. Passes 4-0. Okay, item number D. Appoint Bob Naveau as Chamber Representative to Streetscape Committee. We have, on our Streetscape Committee, we had a member of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors who no longer is a director, Doug Matoza. And the Chamber directors have requested a voice on the Streetscape Committee. However, I feel that, that's fine, but I feel we should maintain or keep Doug Matoza here on the committee because he has a lot of other functions that would fit right in with that, whether he's it's a member of the chamber or not. So I think just the addition of Bob as a chamber representative for the Streetscape Committee would be appropriate. Any-
So does Doug still want to be on the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Any questions? Any? Okay. Can we have a motion? John?
I move we appoint Bob Naveau as a chamber representative to the Downtown Streetscape Committee.
Second.
All
I
in
yield
favor?
to Bob. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Okay. Item number E, appoint 2 members to fill vacancies on the Parks and Recreation Commission. Cleve?
Well, just quickly, we've received these 2 applications from Richard Gayton and Joanne Marks. I was trying to think of the first name, excuse me. Joanne Marks did call me today, apologize she could not be here tonight. She is attending a graduation ceremony, I believe she said, over in Merced, and could not be here, but she expressed that, she is very interested in serving. Richard Gayton did serve on the commission a few years ago, and just a reminder to the council, I think he has rearranged his schedule. At that time, he was having some problems attending meetings, and he chose, it's his choice not to be reappointed at the time his reappointment came up. But it's staff's recommendation based on the fact that we've had a hard time getting applications for this to fill these vacancies that the council approved these 2 appointments to the Parks and Recreation Commission, which would fill 2 vacancies that we currently have.
That leaves us still 1 short, right?
Correct.
Anyone out here like to be on the Recreation Commission?
Is Mr. Gayton here?
He's
No,
not
he
here
isn't.
either, no. I did not hear from him today. I'm not sure why, but.
Any comments? Any questions?
Just glad to see we have a couple people step forward
Yeah.
and show interest.
Yeah, that's
This
very
is,
good.
volunteerism is what it's all about. We have to get more people.
Joanne
in.
Marks was responsible for our street tree design. I wanted to mention that she came in where we didn't have a plan for trees with a sycamore tree that she planted. So
Right.
we got an award for that.
Yes, yes, they did. Okay, can we have direction on,
Yeah, I'll move we appoint these 2 members to fill the vacancies on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. And item number 8, well, it's number F. Report regarding complaints relating to precision inspection and building permit process.
Staff is requesting that this be deferred to your next meeting. We have done some research. We've gathered some information on some of the complaints that have come in. I've talked to the building department, and I'm going to now set up some appointments with some of the people that we know have expressed these complaints so that we can work through this. So we'll have a report for you at your next meeting.
Anyone else out there that's had a problem building things or wanting to build things, had problems with the building department, why call City Hall and let us know. Items to the city manager.
A couple items I wanted to bring up. One item, we have had, normally, as you recall, our pool opens on Memorial Day weekend, which would have been last Saturday. Unfortunately, we've run into some more problems with our pool. Our filter, which is a sand filter that takes the water through to clean it. The sand apparently has, what's the term, solidified. It's in clumps. And so the sand and the gravel that's in there needs to be replaced. We've taken action as an emergency action to go ahead and have that approved. The cost is going to be about $3,800 to have that done. But in order to expedite it and get it done in a timely manner so that we can open our pool, and the school also uses it for some PE classes. We have the swim team that's trying to get in there to continue their practices. We're scheduled to start water aerobics this Saturday, so in order to move that forward and keep our programs going, we've given the okay. The work is supposed to begin tomorrow to do those repairs, and should be done by tomorrow night, according to what the gentleman has told us. So I just want to inform the council of that, and you'll see that probably will require in our operations in that area, maintenance and operations in the pool area will require a budget amendment, but you'll see that at the year end, when Margaret takes care of all the budget adjustments at year end. Next item I wanted to talk about, you recall the park grant, which we applied for, $300,000 for Mariposa Park. We received notification today that we did receive that grant for $300,000 to begin the development of Mariposa Park. So we'll provide some matching funds with that and proceed to improve that, start that process.
Confirm that's the one that we paid $4,000 for, the grant writer? I recall just before.
I believe so. Yeah, there was one that we got free, and this one we had to pay for. The other one we got through Sketco.
Okay,
yes.
this would be the one.
Yeah. And the last item, just kind of an update on the industrial park. I don't know, Mayor, if you got the same call that I got from Miss Kelsey, Supervisor Kelsey from Merced County.
When was this?
I believe
Friday?
it was Friday afternoon.
I talked to her Friday, yes.
The latest is that it is scheduled for adoption on the 25th of June now, was
I
the
didn't
last
get that
word.
call.
I didn't think you had received that call. That was the latest
She
one I got.
was still working on the 11th. when I
Yeah,
talked to her.
that's what she was last, but that was one that came in late. I can't remember if I got it late Friday night or first thing this morning, stating that it would be done, it would be scheduled for the 25th. I'm still working with the person from Public Works to make sure that it does meet that date. I think we've given them everything that we need to make that date. We're waiting for some things from them to supply back to us.
Have
right
you
now.
notified Mr. Rocha about that?
I have not, because I just got, I think it was just this morning that I got this information. So I
Okay.
wanted to let the council know, and I will talk to him tomorrow.
Okay.
Prioritize that.
Yes.
Sure.
Number one.
And I think that's all I have, other than just wanted to mention the events coming up this week. As you know, Thursday night is the League of California Cities dinner at the theater. And then on Friday night, we have the streetscape opening downtown, starting at 6:30 and running till about 8:30. Hopefully you all received your invitations to that.
Okay.
Just want to let the public know who watches this on television, hopefully tomorrow night, we have some great raffle prizes we'll be doing that night, and you can get tickets from several participating stores downtown. As you go in and do your shopping, they'll give you a ticket to participate, and you have to be present to win. That's one of the things they mentioned. The raffle will take place probably around between 7:30 and 8 is when the raffle will be taking place. Lots of other things going on. We have some things for the kids to do. We have our fire department will be down there with a fire truck, their old fire truck for the kids to look at. Police department will have their DARE vehicle out there and giving out some things to kids. Some other games and stuff for the kids. Also some performances by a couple of dance groups in town.
Hard hats.
We will be giving out the remainder of our hard hats, balloons. So there'll be a lot of things happening. And that'll be happening in the main block in front of the theater downtown on Friday night.
Yeah, there was a full-page ad in the review today, but it didn't mention the time in there, so.
Yeah, that's what somebody mentioned to me. I'll
yeah.
make sure that they get that. That'll also be going out
On
in
Thursday's
Thursday's
paper,
so we'll
yeah.
make sure that they get that in there.
Look for a lot of people down there. Is that all, Euclid?
That's all I have.
One question on the Mariposa Park. Where's the entrance going to be? Off of Mariposa Avenue or off of Hoyer Road?
Well, actually,
To
the general
school?
plan shows, the park design shows it going off Mariposa. But there's also a substantial amount of parking that is designed in the junior high that will serve as parking for that park. Because they're, normally the hours that the park is busy are opposite the hours when the school is busy. So that frees up the parking area there. The other point of that is that the general plan traffic circulation element shows a road running down the west border of the school and the park, running all the way to Oris Timber Road. So eventually down the road, that will be developed, and we've required the school to reserve that area. They're not building it yet because it would be a dead-end road at this point, but at some point, that road will be built all the way back and join up with Oris Timber Road.
And one other quick question. Have you heard any more about the senior center? Are we having any more meetings on?
I talked to Mr. Salinas about that the other day, and we are trying to get another meeting scheduled to meet on that. What we want to do is go out and meet with the seniors, the 50-plus club, and make a presentation to them, get some ideas from them, and then move forward with the design on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see that get going. Items from the city council members. John, we'll start with you.
The letters downtown, Cleve, any news on that? The intersection letters?
We have a couple of solutions that we're working on, and we're trying to get somebody to tell us, will it work before we move forward with them. And
They're
that's-
working on it?
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out to the fun run Sunday. It was a nice sunny day and a big success. Thank you. That's all I had.
Good work, John.
Thank you, Tim.
May I ask, did we get an estimation of how many people actually came out?
No.
2,000, huh?
Oh, I think at least, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was working so hard in that one area, I didn't get a chance to go count them, but
That's your job.
I'm sorry. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Bob?
I just had a question, Cleve. We still have one building downtown that continues to be unfinished, and I was just, we had scaffolding that was down there for a number of weeks, and they didn't do anything. I just wondered, is there any update as far as when that project be started and completed, or?
Well, they were doing a little bit of work, but most of it was on the inside. The last word I heard is the windows are ordered. We actually required them to take the scaffolding down and asked them to leave it down until after our events Thursday and Friday. So that's why it was taken down, because it didn't look like it was getting used anyway at the present time. But the word I'm getting is that the windows are ordered, the windows will be going on, and that they do have it rented. They've got somebody that wants to move into it. So.
Oh, very good. Yeah. That's all I have, other than we have some young people in our audience tonight, and it's good to see them here. This is watching the way your government works, your local government.
Sat right up front, too. Brave souls.
Someday you could be sitting up here.
Hey.
That's
I'm
all
not
I
sure they
have.
really want to do that.
Well, the pay is excellent.
Sure.
That gets the loudest laugh of the
Anything
night.
else, Bob?
No, thank you.
Okay. Tim?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had an opportunity to stop by the Oris Timber High School Senior Awards night down here at the Lewis Newman Center building, and I just want to congratulate all those seniors and the proud parents. They had a packed house down there. And that's about all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I just want to thank John and Mike Maldonado for their job getting this fun run going, and it looked like it was a success. All the merchants that were open, I think, did well, and look forward to next. I'm sure you look
I
forward
forgot
to
to
next
say I'm
year, right?
retiring.
This is your retirement year. Okay.
My retirement year.
Who's taking it over?
Mike, hopefully we'll keep it going.
Just Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think he's going to have some help. I'm
Okay.
trying to recruit some other people, but hopefully it'll keep going.
Okay. Well, good.
I have to devote all my time to the fall festival. So.
Otherwise, I had a quick question of staff real briefly. John brought up the letterings and the intersections. Confirm we're still retaining the last 10% of the final
Definitely, yes.
funding. I would like that to actually come before us as a council action before we send out that last 10%, because that's part of what we've discussed before, the penalty phase or being held accountable. Before that last, a little over $200,000?
What happens, the process is that The council will have to do a notice of completion,
Okay.
okay? Once you do the notice of completion, we hold that 10% for 30 days, and then it is released. So you will have that opportunity.
Yeah, because we're still a little ways with
Sure.
what my colleague brought up, fantasy on the
Sure.
intersection.
So yeah, you'll definitely have that opportunity to file the notice of completion, and we won't do that until that specific item is completed. And then the retention, the 10% retention is not released for 30
another
days
30 days.
after the notice of completion.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, that's all I have too. We're scheduled to go into a closed session, but we don't have the information we need for that, so we're going to skip that. And I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned.